Check 1 2. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to talk about tips and tricks for how to get started using Blackout. If you're new, if you don't even know what this is, Blackout is an app I make for the iPad, and I like to consider it a full-size lighting console in an app form. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of logic that goes behind the scenes that run the console and allows us to do some pretty advanced things, and it has set us up for more things that will happen in the future. So we have some exciting things to announce in the near future, so stay tuned for that. But we just had a pretty big update come out about a week and a half ago, and if you haven't explored some of the new features, I'll be walking you through that and what some of these questions I get about effects getting exclamation marks in them and stuff like that. So I have a little setup here. You should be able to see. I have my iPad, and then I actually have a C300 behind me so that we can kind of see that as well. Will we ever get Android support? Yes, eventually we will. But I want to make sure that iOS is stable, so it will be coming at some point. Okay, so let's see. The first things first, if you kind of are looking for a way to get up and running quickly, when you first open, you have different projects that you can create, and then in here you can create your different locations. So this is where I would put like Studio 1, Studio 2, Studio 3. So if we did this, and this is going to allow you to keep ideally the same kind of patch along your different stages for a show. And then when you back out, you would be able to create different projects. And a lot of people ask me, how do you share projects? All you have to do is swipe left on the name, either in the projects category or the locations, and then you can go ahead and click export. And then here you can airdrop it, you can send it through Google Drive, copy to Google Drive or Dropbox. So that is how you get files in and out of Blackout. Let's see. If you click import, you are able to go through your iPad right here and click files, but you can also do this if you go to the actual app, such as like Google Drive or something. You will be able to click on that and click the three dots. Here, let's do it. Let's see if I have something. Actually, I'm not sure. I do have something here. Let's export something first. So if I go here, export, and I go here, let's just save its files. And I'm going to save this to temp, live stream project, boom. So now, if I go to files, which is right here, and, oh, I have some right here, actually, but here's my live stream project. So if I go ahead and select this, and I click this little share button in the top right, now I should be able to swipe left, and there's a copy to Blackout. So if you're not getting that, you just click more, and then you would be able to add this here. This would probably not show up until you press the plus icon, and then you would be able to add that. And then when you click this, that's another way to get it in here, and it's going to import with a new name, or because it's its own project. Now, if I had done that under here and just to a location, I would be able to specify where that goes. So I'd get a pop-up saying, oh, hey, do you want to go into live stream or live stream 1? So that's simple basics right there. So we created this new project. It's called Studio. We'll come back to the settings tab in a second, but let me show you. I'm gonna do something right here. Okay. So if you wanted to see my hands, give me 1 second. Coming in. Okay. Okay, so, hold on, where am I right here? If I do, there we go. Okay, so here I have above me, so you can see my hands kind of working, and we will try to follow along with that as best as we can. Okay, so here I'm in the new project, and I have made this a one-to-one patch. So for those of you who don't know exactly what that means, it means that channel 1 is going to be addressed to address 1, and that is so you can get up and running quickly. A lot of times I will use this as like a diagnostic tool. So if I wanted to run in here and test a couple rat packs or dimmer racks or something, I would be able to hook up to my AKS or Moonlight, stick in a CRMX receiver into whatever I'm testing, and then I would have channels right here to kind of just run through. So, you know, some basic things you can do, you can select channels, you can type in values, press enter, and they go there. You can also use the scroll wheel, and you can dim them up that way. Obviously, if you go to fixture controls here on the left, you get a nice little fader that you can move here. So that is one quick method. There's multiple selection things that you can do. So if I did 1 through and then I tap 30, that's a quick way to select there. But then I could just do offset, and then here I get a number of options that I'm presented with. So if I did odd and then I did those at full, you would see just the odd channels go full. So if you were to test every, you know, other fixture or something, that's also a quick way to do selections. And a lot of selection is used for the offset is for effects. So if I am creating an effect that I want to go across a certain order of channels, that's really where you want to store that selection into a group. That's why we have offset there. So it's allowing you to really be prepared in having different effects that can run across fixtures in different orders. And so you create multiple instances of those. So if I wanted to have channels, you know, 1, 4, 2, 3, 5 go, I select them in that order. I can go ahead and record that into a group, 1, okay? And now, if I just go ahead and tap group once, I get the selected channels. If I tap it again, it shows me the order selection. And then I can go ahead and press next here on the bottom right, and it will remember the order that I selected. So now I can take that group, I can record that into an effect, 1, save, and now I've also made this so that it just does a default chase effect, so that most people kind of want to just see something go across their lights. So that's what I do. So if I did play, you'll see it goes in that order. And we tried to give you like a little GUI feedback for what's happening with the channels. It's something we're constantly going to improve, and especially as the iPad develops and grows and the processors get better and better, this is going to be much smoother. It's going to be more responsive. It's something that I'm constantly looking into. I don't know if you guys heard, but Capture is a a visualizer program that allows you to see stuff that you can create, and we'll dive into that a little bit earlier. So you can like create some stages or a lighting setup, and then you can control them from Blackout. And they now have an iOS version where you can actually just view files. So you can't create on the iPad, but it's the first step of visualization on the iPad. And so that is something that is super cool, and something that I'm looking forward to hopefully integrating with at some point. So that's a quick primer into what this stuff means. Live summary will show you just the channels that are over 0% so that you can see what is actually outputting on your stage. And I know a lot of people have asked me to be able to colorize this, and that is something that we are thinking about, and we will probably implement in the near future. So check out for that. But what else can I go over? So the basic keypad allows you to kind of type in some of your console syntax that you may kind of be familiar with if you come from GrandMA or etc EOS, and allows you to do things that are shortcuts in your other programs. So if I wanted to swap channels, that's kind of an easy thing. If I did 5 and I swap and then I press 6 enter, it's going to swap those channels. When this works for effects, this is going to be super awesome, because imagine you're doing a poor man's process, and you have a car and you have 4 stereo tubes, 2 on each side, and then they want to swap the car to the other side, and so they flip the whole setup. Instead of you having to move all your lights around or figuring out how to do that, you'll be able to select a stereo 1, swap with a stereo 4 on the other side, and vice versa. So that should be able to get you up and running super quickly and adaptable. And that's another thing that I built into the effects engine, is being able to somewhat live edit your effects. A lot of times you do have to stop and then restart your effect for it to like fully take precedence, but you can have background value. So if I go ahead and I pull out this effect, you can see the second step is background, and what that enables me to do is whatever is in the look or is currently sent to the channel, it will be that background value. So right now you can see that it goes from 100 in the first step to background, and if I go ahead and play this, it's showing you what's happening, but in the actual levels, which if we go ahead and give me 1 second. I'm going to show you this in SACN viewer so you can see this. There it is. Okay, so I have capture up in the top left, and I have SACN viewer in the top right. And if you look here, you will see that Universe 1 is showing up. So right now, what is happening? I am just sending art or SACN over Wi-Fi to my home network, just to kind of show you what is going on. But this is how you can easily test Blackout, and you can see if something is going wrong. So SACN viewer, if you're not aware, is a program that allows you to see SACN data from any source. So this is picking it up on the network, and you can see it has found Blackout lighting app E1.31, which is the protocol for SACN, and all of the levels right here. So if I go ahead and put 1 out, you'll see 1 right here, 1 out. And now if I go back to my view here, second here. Okay, so if I go back to my view here and now I go ahead and run my effect, you will see that it is in fact taking these minimal values and leaving them as the background state. So channel 2 right there never goes below 81, which is, 32 in a user value. So right now these are user values 0 to 100. This is showing us 0 to 255 because that is what 8-bit is. So that is something cool that you can do with effects because you can adjust this live. So for example, if I take this and then I wanted one to stay full the whole time and I press full, now you will see in a second, there you go. One is staying full and it's not dipping below that because the chase goes from 100 to the background. If the 100 is in the background state, then it's stuck like that. So you can adjust colors. This is a good way to do that if you wanted to have a red chase over a background color. You could have red constantly going through, and then here on the fly you could change this. Oh, you want it over blue. Oh, now you want it over green. That's a quick and easy way to create a dynamic effect on set in real time, mostly. Oh, you want to rename the channel to ID. Oh, like fixture ID. Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, I think that's a good way to go. The reason why I chose channel is it's sometimes simpler because if you're coming from GrandMA, they have two categories. They have channel and they have a fixture ID. And it makes most sense to use fixture IDs when you're talking about a multi-parameter fixture, such as like a sky panel or something like that. You could have fixture 1, fixture 2, fixture 101, fixture 102. And then you could have channels for your dimmer values. But I didn't want to add a third column because that can be super confusing to people. Oh, am I calling a channel? Oh, am I calling a fixture? And if you go into the channel view, everything right now is just channel. Whereas, like, again, in ETC or GrandMA, you have a selection keyword that you can choose. So if I made that into a group, right, in GrandMA, then whatever I type, if I type in 1, it would actually say group 1 instead of channel 1. So if I had fixture IDs and channel IDs, I think that might be more confusing. So that's why I've stuck with channel IDs thus far, because I also don't want people to get confused with being able to call just a regular dimmer on a wrap pack a fixture. So that could be confusing. So that's why we stuck with channels so far, but it is something I've thought about. Maybe that might be in the future where you could like add that in like a setting in, to be able to have fixture IDs as well. But that's kind of, perhaps a little bit more down the future, down the road. A couple things that maybe you didn't know about patch. If you want to clear everything out real quickly, you don't like what I've done right here with a 1-to-1 patch, and you're like, I want to start completely fresh, just press unpatch. So many people ask me that. Unpatch with nothing selected, press OK, will clear your entire board. And then you can see SACN viewer lost all that information. So when you do that, it actually resets your plate as well, and then you can go ahead and add fixtures. So I also made it quick. If you wanted to just patch a couple dimmers, you just click patch dimmers 1 through 10 at 1, enter, and now you have those. And if you accidentally messed up and you wanted to readdress these, say you wanted to do 5, 6, 7, 8, repatch to another address, oh, those are actually going to be at channel 21, enter, and there you go. So that you can do also with multi-parameter fixtures. You can readdress them. And then if you wanted to, you can reset back 1-to-1 just by pressing that. Sorry, the C300 is right over my shoulder, so it's a little hard to keep over here. But So that's a quick way to do patches. But what if I want max DMX value on a fixture to be 150 instead of 255? Wait. Okay. So here, let's go back to effects. So yes, a lot going on with effects. And what you may know from an earlier console, this is trying to break the mold of this. What I'm trying to do with Blackout is make this specifically for the film industry and being able to get up and running super quickly. So it's familiar in that it uses a lot of console syntax and methodology of the way it works from other consoles, which is why you see the similarity. But the way that I'm designing it is in the back end totally different. And that really shows you with effects. And here is what I kind of envision with this. And hopefully you agree. If you don't, let me know. And it's something we can always work on. But in a traditional sense, when you are creating looks, right? You want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at full. Okay, we're going to record that into look 1. This has just recorded the entire state of the board. So you don't need to make a selection. Even though these were selected, it's still going to record everything that is in the state of the board as is. And this is also this is not a move fade desk, and this is not a this is what they call a preset desk, a scene desk, where it is only going to record what you have. It's not going to add tracking. And I do that also because film hardly uses tracking. If you're starting to do live stuff, you're starting to put on a show, that is something that might be useful in the future, and I've thought about going that way, but I'm not sure I want to confuse people with it too much, because so many people in film are like, why is that light on? Well, it's tracking from a previous cue. If you didn't turn it off, then it goes away. So if you wanted to kind of keep a track going, the easiest way is to just create your cues linearly in this console. So you wouldn't be able to insert. So like, for example, if I wanted to now create look 2, well, let's go to look 0, so it refreshes the board, and I create look 2 as 10 through 20 at full, and I record that as look 2. Okay, now if I go from look 1 to look 2, you will see those values are completely different. So here, let me just show you a bigger version of this. So if I go from look 1 to look 2, you can see those values are not tracking through. What I mean by that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a tracking desk would continue to be there in look 2 because I didn't tell them to go away. But this is just recording the entire state of the board. So that's first and foremost. How this plays into effects, isn't there an assistive touch feature on iPad with accessibility to show where you tap? Oh, yeah, there is, but it gets in the way. I'm sorry. If you want to see, here, we'll go back to this screen right here, and you can let me know if this is better or worse. I can make this bigger. We don't need to see SACN viewer right now. Hold on. So if I did this, and then... Okay, so here we go. So, yeah, again, look 1, look 2, that's all I'm doing to do that. If I press, back, the way I have this set right now in settings is it just goes immediately back. So much of the time when I'm in film, it's like, okay, we're going to create a 3Q thing, a fade with a light. It's going to go from off to on to off again, right? And let's go through it. So you go and you press play. The default timing right here is 3 seconds, so you'll see those go over 3 seconds. And then it's like, okay, let's reset. So that's why I press back and then it goes immediately. But you can change that. So if you go back and you go here and you go into settings and you go default back button right here in the middle, it says instant. If I click that, it goes to look timing. So now if I click save, I go back into my studio project. Now, if I go to my looks and I press play, it's going for 3 seconds. And then if I press back, it's going for 3 seconds there. So that is something, if you didn't know, there's a couple settings that drastically change how you interact with the console. Another of them, if you go back and click settings, is one press full or out. So right now you have to do like channel 1 at full, and then you have to press enter. If I just do that, now I'm going to be able to press 1 full and it'll go. So if you want to make sure you aren't tapping, you aren't fat fingering something, then don't turn that on. But another thing is the scroll wheel activates without the at button. The reason why I've always had channel 1 at to activate anything is so that when you're carrying this around on you, you don't accidentally scroll your levels up. Because if that wheel is, you're like moving around, you accidentally select a channel from your shirt or something, and then your scroll wheel goes up, now your lights have changed. So I've tried to make this as, you can't mess anything up that you have going, unless you are desperate and you want to do that. And then the other thing is this, plus or minus right up here, you can set to 5 points. You can also set it to 5%. So I know some gaffers who are like, take that down 10%. This would be a good button to do that with. Okay, and then the rest of that, you kind of get that. The default time button, 3 seconds, you can change that as well. So let's go back into our project here. No, so the tracking thing is not new. This is the way it's always worked. So if you were getting that tracking, it's because you were creating your cues in order. That's for Sam I was. Okay, so Jason Wells, I'm coming back to you with the low and high sliders. If I miss someone, just retype your question because it's kind of a lot to look through here. So, okay, so if I go to effects and I open this up, the low and high sliders only apply to random rate. So right now, let's create like a flicker effect. You can do this with just 2 steps. A lot of people don't realize this. If you take the time to 0, and again, I mean, guys, obviously this is very much similar to ETC, except that I made one huge difference, which is that you were able to, in the same line, add your own parameters from your fixture. And this is important. This is something that, like, I haven't seen any other console do. Like, in the GrandMA, you have to separate each by parameter, and then your parameters, you have all those things. It's a lot to manage. In here, I wanted to make it as simple and easy as possible. And this is the backbones of the effects engine. The goal here is to get this working as best as possible, which is why I've spent so much time on it, and why, you see a lot of people have issues on the user forum, is because I'm constantly revising this to try to get it to work the way I want it to work, which is different than any other console. And when I get it there, then I'm going to redo some of the GUI or make it a simpler one so that you'll be able to kind of like adjust the length of chases really quick and easily. It'll be more visual. You'll be able to like send the chases one by one, stuff like that. So that's all coming. It's just going to be a little bit. So you'll notice immediately right here, I get this exclamation mark in the top left corner, which if you see here, you can see it up in the top left corner right next to the effect 1, right? So what that means is your effect has been changed from its original parameters, and it isn't saved anywhere. So you need to update this if you want it to be saved into your look. The reason why I do this is other consoles, like if you have color palettes or presets, if you update it, it'll update everywhere in your show file. And so much of film, you don't ever want that to happen. On a live show, yes, absolutely. You have 50 different cues, and it's like you put them all into this red color palette, and now the lighting designer is like, oh, let's tweak the red, let's make it a little bit less red. On film, you want to very much do that 99% of the time on a per cue basis. And Blackout is trying that with effects right now. Favorites, we haven't gotten around to editing favorites just yet, and that's because I'm waiting on the table view to come out. And that has been a little bit of a struggle for my developers, but the table view will allow you to see the channel drop down on every single channel in one view. So hold on. So we'll go back to the effects real quick, and then I'll show you what that exclamation point means in a little bit further detail. So we're going to create this flicker effect, right? So if we did a dwell of like 0.1, it's going to go on here, and then we can do like a dwell of like 0.3. And now if we were to play this, let's go ahead and bring capture into the mix. So if I go to here, I'm going to just create something really quickly, which is just go fixtures. If I look up source 4, okay, we'll put like a 36 degree here. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the top view, put this in here. If you don't know capture, it's okay. It's pretty simple. It's a visualizer, like I said. You go to your library, you go to your fixtures, you can type in your fixture that you want. Sky panel's working here as well. You drag it into your viewport. Once your viewport is here, then if you press Alt and drag, no, just kidding. You can hold this copy. Sorry, I'm like, there's so many programs and they all have like slightly different way. Like here, it's like you use the middle wheel to select and move your viewport. But okay, so here's your source 4s again. And let's just make a couple of these. Let's just make 5 of these, okay? And then if you select all of them, minus the cloud, and then you go here and you go spread even, you can spread these horizontally. And then they're all on the same line, but you can also align them, and you could go to align horizontal top. So there you go. So now these are in good line. If I'm gonna go to live right here, I'm going to go to sequential patch, and then I'm going to start these at 1.1. Okay, so here is our lights, and if we look at our universes here, you can see that that is correct. I am getting data from the iPad. And so let me see if I put this up. I had a thing, and then I lost the thing. Here we go. Okay, so let's go back to what this looks like here. So here's live, and here's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I go ahead and take one out, this is a kind of easy way to see this. So let's take these out so that when we play the effect, we can see kind of like what that does. This is over all of these fixtures. If you wanted to do this just on one, then I would create a new effect. So what I can do here, because I want to copy the same parameters, I can go ahead and save as a preset, and then I can just call this like flicker 1. Okay, and then I'm going to select my channel 1, or let's do channel 3 so it's in the middle. Record this as a new effect, and I'm going to call this 2. Okay, so now pull this out, and now I can go ahead and apply this preset, and I have flicker 1 here. If I do that, there, my parameters have been successfully transferred over to this new group. So now if I go ahead and press play, you can see that's kind of like what the flicker effect is doing. Now maybe I don't like that because it's too repetitious and it's repetitive. It's not doing anything different. That's where this random rate comes in. So if I click random rate, now I'm going to be able to do a value percentage change of what these timings are. So what this means is if I did low at 100%, that means it's always going to be this timing, or up to the high, I could go up to like here. I don't have values on here. This is just kind of very rough right now, but eventually we'll be able to like type in values or at least see them correctly. But now it should go from either 0.1 to, if this is 200%, it would be 0.2 at any rate in between randomly. So now if I go ahead and press play, there you go. You can kind of see the black is longer in some spots, the light is more, and you can go ahead and adjust this. And if you want it to go faster, you can take the total time. And if I put this to 0.2 now, there you go. So somewhat of a cool flicker effect. I mean, you can adjust this more. You can go here, you can go lower, and sometimes if you stop and restart it, you'll get a better result. But there is a different kind of random flicker effect that you can get going right there. Okay, so let me see some of these questions. Okay, on effects, if I have a 7-step flicker and it's going from 35 to 40%, if the DP wants to jump up 5%, is there a global way to jump that whole effect up 5%? No. Not right now, but that's interesting. Right, because you're going to have different light values here. That would be something that a DP would want to do constantly. I'll have to think about that. That's a good one. What's another one? Okay. Okay, yes, Stig, you're right. Right now, presets are saved by location. We are working on a way that you will be able to save or export just your patch or just your patch and groups or just your favorites. But it's a little bit of a back-end rewrite. And when I did this cloud database, I wanted everyone to have the most updated profiles. And what I didn't account for was when I update those profiles, it's going to break some people's show files, which is not something that like I have cared too much about, because I know this console is so much of a kind of like a run and gun thing that it's not like most people are using this on like a whole live show that they're keeping on a touring set. When it gets to a point where it's like that stable, then I will worry a lot about breaking people's show files. But in order to get around that right now, what I'm going to be implementing in the near future is a way that you can export those specific things. So that would include presets, and you would be able to import them into another project or location. But the best way to do that right now is to duplicate your project and then get rid of what you don't want. So I hope that answers that. I don't have pre-programmed effects yet. I will. It's something that I'm going to implement once I kind of get the backbone of this more set. And then, yeah, Alvaro, it's... Yeah, so there will eventually be a way that we can kind of sync with 2 iPads. I mean, obviously you've seen it done with Stellar. It's something that I'm highly interested in. There's a couple things, big features that I'm going to release before I do that, which I think will make that experience a lot better. So let's see. What else? Casper, I missed your first part of your question. What if I want the max DMX value on a fixture to be 150 instead of 255? Oh yeah, you can set any step to background. So if I go ahead and pull this out, and I put this one to like 50, and then put this one to... I think the way you have to do it, unfortunately, is actually -1. Yeah. In case you didn't know that, now you know that. -1 gets you background, so there you go. Okay, so how does effects have those exclamation points? What does this mean exactly? Why is this happening? Again, it's because I wanted to be able to allow users to use the same effect but just change the parameters on a per look basis. So Unlike other consoles where you may be updating an effect and it changes all of your effects, in film, I would say 99.9% of the time, never want that to happen. So let's do something real quick. So if we go ahead and we're going to save a new look right here, and this is going to be 10, has nothing going in it right now. Okay. And then we are going to put channels, these 10 channels. We're going to go ahead and record that into an effect, and we're going to say this one is effect 10, right? And now I'm going to go ahead and play this effect 10, and I'm going to go ahead and record this as look 11, okay? Now, I'm going to go back to my effects. I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to go ahead and record this as look 12. And in case you haven't seen this, like when I adjust these, or when I press record and I get the pop-up, if you press looks, you'll see looks. If you press favorites, it goes to favorites over here. This is an easy way to make sure that you're not overwriting something, so you can kind of see that in the left sidebar in the background. So that's what I was doing right there. So again, if you go to look 10, it's nothing. If you go to a look 11, you have your effect playing, and then you go to look 12, it's out. Now, if I wanted to, the DP or the gaffer was like, oh, I want to make an adjustment to that flicker effect for the next cue. I can do that without affecting what I just did. So if I go back to effects, and I go to effect 10, and I pull it out, I'm in effects expanded, we can see all the levels, and now I want to change these to, say, a 0 uptime, okay? I get the exclamation point. It's saying, hey, you just changed this effect, it's not saved anywhere, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and press record, and I'm going to type in look 13, okay? If I go back to look 10, I'm in 0. If I press play, this is going with that smooth fade up like we had. Press play again, fades out. Now I press play again, and nothing happened. Hold on. Now I press play again. Let me see if that actually saved. It didn't. Okay, so see, this is a new thing that's happening. So, which is why some people have issues with it, like reverting, like I just did right there. So if I go there, and then press play, okay, and now I go record, and let's try to overwrite this look. Let's see if that does it. Yeah. Okay, so now if I go back to look 10, press play to go forward, it's smooth, press play, that goes out eventually, right? Oh no, it's out in the next cue, right? Yeah, and then the next cue, press play, there you go, there's your step. So for some reason it didn't record right away, but I had to just re-record, and now it's there. So if you see, if I go to my effects and I pull out effect 10, in look 13, time is 0, but if I go to look 11, you can see that this time is 1. So the same effect, I was able to change the parameter and have it affected in a new look. If you wanted to go back to that, so say your gaffer was like, I don't like that, go back to look 13, go to effects, pull this out. Now you will see effect history up here in the middle. If you click that, you can apply the parameters that it was at when it was saved in look 11. If I click OK, there you go. I have my new configuration, or my old configuration, back in my effect. And I just need to make sure that I save that. I believe I should actually get an exclamation point there, and I think that's something that we didn't do, but I think if you just update, let me see if the update works right here. If you click update, clear out, I'm gonna go back to looks 10. Okay, if I click, I'm just gonna click through so we can see them. There's out, and then there. Yep, there we go. So update worked as expected. Does that make sense to everybody? No. You cannot change the channel order after you save them into an effect. Mainly because that's a lot of logic that the iPad has to do to recalculate everything, and then it can get lost. And because of the way I implemented this, I don't want people to save channels 1 through 4 in an effect, and then 2 looks later change that effect selection to do different lights, you know, in another look. That's just too many variables that are changing that the console has to like keep in background tracking through. So you have to create a new effect, but it's easy enough to create, you know, a new effect again by saving a preset and then applying that to your new channel selection when you create a new effect. And if you didn't see that, you can watch the live stream later and go back to that. I'll try to put some little markers in there. Oh, thanks, Shane. Okay, so that's why it didn't work. Sometimes I get a little confused. There's a little bit going on there. Okay, so Casper. Oh, okay, so what you're talking about is inhibitive subs. Faders are around the corner. They're not super soon. I wanted to make sure I got all of this logic really embedded down before I do a new page. But I'm going to have a new page, and it's going to have faders like you've never seen faders before. I have big plans for it. You will be able to do inhibitive subs at that point. And what that means, what Casper is saying, for those of you who don't know, is if I press 1 at full, you can see this light in capture right now is at 100%. If I go actually to here, you can see that. Boom. Right here, 100%. Is the quality, are you guys able to see the small text, or is it not good enough? So if he wants this to be, you know, you type in at 100, but you never want that light to actually go to 100, in consoles, in full-size consoles, you'd be able to set a fader and say it would be at the top, right? And you just drag it down a little bit to like 80%. And now that light, even though you put it at 100% in the console, it will never go above 80%. So that is what an inhibitive sub would do. Yes, that is coming. No, you can't do that right now. Okay. So... Oh, MIDI support. Guys, I know you want MIDI support, but it makes no sense right now because I don't have faders. So until I get faders up, no MIDI support. Sorry. That's a lot to integrate. What else? Okay. So, how else do I use the console? If you want to just do a smooth look, right? The reason why I have time set up is because so many times during a take, DP's like, oh, can you bump that up 5%? And you're like, I'm in the middle of a take. To do that smoothly, you can use time. So if I press channel 5, or let's see something that we have here in capture. So if I do channel 3, and I do at, 30%, this is a little bit dramatic. But if I press time, remember in settings, time is a default of 3 seconds. So if I press time and I press enter, it's going to sneak that channel up. And look at how beautiful that fade was. You can't even hardly see the light because it's a Leco, that's why. So if I do that full and I did time over 3 seconds, there you go. So if you're in the middle of a take and you just need to manually adjust one channel, this is an easy way to do that using the time. And of course, you can specify the amount of time after time. So if I wanted channel 4 at full time 1, enter, boom, it goes up real quickly. Yes, Sam. I don't have faders yet. It's in the works. There's a whole dedicated page of faders coming, but I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to do it really well, and I'm going to do it the way that more than what people are expecting. So it's it's coming. It's not in the super near future, but it's gonna definitely change the way this console works, and I can see a lot of people kind of migrating to that. But we have a couple other features coming out that we're gonna get to first, which I think you might be potentially more excited about. So a lot going on. Okay, some other things. We're just in regular channels right now. Let's go to some of these macros that I've implemented. So macros are a new thing to Blackout. If you're used to seeing a full-size console, then macros should be exciting for you because you will know what's coming next. So if I go ahead and press 2, I have some of these pre-built macros right here. If I press full, what that does is it executes a console command in one button. So if I go ahead and pull this out and I edit full, let's see if I can do that. There you go. You can see what that macro is doing. It's saying at full, and then the enter is automatically applied. And if I take macros out and then I go edit and I go like neutral, it's going to release. Oh, that's actually not right. It should be the tint, but I must have messed that one up. Okay, so if you did like 3200, here we go. It's going to do CCT at 3200. So instead of typing that into your console, you can just press that in one button. Where this becomes super helpful is when we get the next feature out, which will allow you to access these in a more accessible way and in a more interactive way. Okay, so you can create your own macros, again, if you just click Add New, and then say, here's every parameter that we have in the console currently. This is constantly updated, so one of the things that I'm doing is taking my time adding new fixtures to the database, and that's because I personally test every single one, and if I'm not happy, I don't add it in, because I want them to work perfectly on set, and I know how picky people are. I'm particularly picky with profiles, and so many consoles just subscribe to like the Carillon database, or there's another one out there, Alta base, Atla base or something, and those guys are just people they hire to type in spreadsheets, to type in DMX profiles into a console, and they have no idea what lighting is or anything like that. It's literally just data typers, and because of that, so many of their profiles are wrong. So I am curating a perfect profile database, and we'll get into this in a little bit. If you guys want, we'll do some integrations with other software, and I'll show you kind of like what GrandMA and Vectorworks are doing with GDTF. But that's a mess because everyone's allowed to edit it, and there's no control of what's going on right now. So it's like you could get a mixture of good profiles, you could get a mixture of terrible profiles. So if you wanted to go ahead and create your own custom macro, here's an easy way to do that. You can do something like, let's say, zoom, at full. And we'll just type this zoom full in your label field, and you'll click save. And now I have that new macro here. So if I have a moving light that I just want the zoom to go to full immediately, I can select that, and then I can tap zoom full, and it will do that. Another thing that is similar in a way that we've implemented in this version, which maybe you didn't catch, is global favorites. So let's go ahead and patch in a couple sky panels right here so we can see this. So if I add fixtures, or here, I'm gonna unpatch everything, and I'm gonna patch in dimmers 1 through 10, so we have those still, and then add fixtures, and I'm gonna do airy sky panel. Let's just do mode 6. This is kind of like a typical one that most people use because it's 16-bit, so you get smooth dimming, but it has a very standard, what I call a standard profile for an LED fixture that everyone should have. Everyone who's not doing it this way is doing it wrong. That's what I'm going to say. So 101 through 106, say we have 6 sky panels, and I want them to start at address 101. So I'll type at 101. In case you weren't familiar with that syntax, that's how that goes. Press enter. You have an opportunity to batch label them, which will fill out this field, and then that will show up in your channel view. So instead of seeing right here the fixture type and the mode, you would see your custom name. And sometimes if you adjust that on the fly, I've allowed you to adjust channels now, or to label channels. So if I put this and I said like Rat Pack 1 or something, you know, and I go to channel view, you may have to exit the project and then open it again in order to see that, there you go, that label appear. But you are able to now label actual dimmers. So if you guys are anal about using Rat Packs and want to label those, you can do that now. Okay, so here's my sky panels. So say, so now let's go back into capture. Okay, and let's add in a couple sky panels. So if I go to fixtures, library, search for S60, and then click Airy, S60C, and I can go ahead and drag this in here. I'm going to drag this right here so we can see that. And then I'm going to copy this. Let's just do, I guess, yeah, we can copy this. So there's other ways to copy this. You can do clone, but for right now, that's what we're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's 6. Okay, so if I'm going to take this, and then I can move all these right here. Okay, and now if I click this and click sequential patch and 1.101 patch. Okay, so the reason why this is looking like this, you're like, why are they on? I don't have them on the console. It's because they are not in the right mode. So if I go down here and I go to mode and I go to 6, we're not in extended, we're in RGBW, CCT RGBW, and then we have to repatch them because they're overwriting each other. So you go to sequential patch and you do 1.101. Oops. Patch. Okay, now they all went out. That's a good sign. Click this. So now let's just test this. 1 through 106, a good idea to always do is go ahead and record your group so you have all of them at the same number that the group starts. Makes sense, right? 101 is sky panels, or I'm just going to say S60s. Boom. And now I can click this, I can do at full, and wow, they come on. Congratulations. Okay, so let's take them out. Let's just turn the first one at 50%, and then if I select this, go to fixture controls and change the color temperature, and then if I go crossfade and I put this at like a red, if you have your sky panel in, I did this in a video in sky panel settings, but if you have your sky panel in color calibration on, then you're going to be able to use the color temperature to change the white point of your colors. So you're not going to see this in capture because they don't have this implemented, but you can see this in my sky panel video where if you have this at 2800, that red is going to look redder than if I have this at 10,000. So that's something to be aware of when you're creating your color palettes, what your color temperature is at. But let's go ahead and set this to 3200. That's always a good base to have. And now I'm going to go ahead and I have this channel 101 selected. I'm going to go ahead and record this as a favorite, just the color, and I'm going to put red as my label. So this doesn't mean anything. It's just a quick label. Maybe in the future we'll have more colors, but I haven't heard anyone complain about this, so that's a good sign. But you're able now to do a universal preset. And what that means is it's going to take the parameters that we have adjusted in the color category, and if another fixture of a different type has those parameters, it will use those same settings from this favorite. whereas global will just go across the fixture type. And I've done this to be standard because in so many consoles, if you don't take care of your presets and palettes, they can all be selective. And what that means is it won't apply to other fixtures of the same type unless you curate them really well. So in Blackout, we've done this automatically as a default. But you can always do fixture specific, and where that comes in handy is if you wanted to create little looks or little, you know, presets for a group of lights that you want to always be in there. That's an easy one button press to turn on. So if I had like day playing Licos, okay, and they were lining up, or Parkans, and they were lining up a walkway outside. It was a night exterior, and I had 50 of them, and I want all 50 of them to turn on at once. I could select channels 1 through 50, turn them on at full, or if I have them as a mixture of different levels, great, I like that. Let's select those channels, save that as a fixture-specific channel. Let's do that real quick, actually. So if I have, you know, 1 at full, and then I'm going to do 2 through 10 offset, and I'm going to do even, and I'm going to do at full. Okay, and then I'm going to do 1 through 10, and I'm going to go offset odd. Oopsie, not odd. Offset even, and I'm going to do at 55%, say. Okay, now I reselect those channels, record this as a fixture specific favorite, and I just want intensity. I mean, I could do all because nothing else is affected right there. Label this one yellow, and I'm going to put this one as 1. Let's just say favorite 1 for right now. It's always best to label your stuff, because if you get this handed from somebody else, how do they know what favorite 1 is? So you should always label it, but for this purpose, we're not going to. So if I did 1 through 10, and I turn them out, and now if I just press favorite 1 without selecting anything, those channels go to those values. So this is a quick way if you wanted to, like, again, have a night exterior, you have day playing lights, and you want to be able to instantly put a group of lights into a look, and then I could save another favorite where it kills those, so that it would be super simple to just turn them on and off at will, regardless of what look I'm in. This will work, because this is just applying basically a macro to those channels. So this was like the first implementation of like hidden macros. Maybe you didn't know. Okay, so back to the sky panel. Okay, we're going to create this color, right? So favorite, we're going to take the color. It was red. I'm going to say universal, and I'm going to type this one as 101. Again, great idea to start your color palettes at the fixture level, unless it is something like a universal, which I usually put in your like 1 through 50. So a couple different naming conventions to go over. Like I kind of said, each fixture type, when I patch it in, it's at a new 100 level. It makes it easy to denote there's a new fixture. So Gaffer can be like, oh, sky panels are 101 through 110. You have 10 sky panels. You add more channels to it. Or your Astera tubes 201 through 208. It's a separate set. So if someone says, oh, turn on channel 301, I know it's not a sky panel. I know it's not an Astera tube. It could be something else. That's actually where I have my AX3s in there. So that's a way to do that. But right now, let's just do favorite 101. And now, if I select any of these sky panels and I press this, those will go. Now, because I just selected the color, you'll see that the dim didn't go, but all of these red values have actually changed. And if I were to patch in another fixture, so let's say patch in Astera Titan tube, and I'm going to go to this DCCT green magenta crossfade RGB. It's kind of like a typical one. 201 at, let's just start these at 201. Why not? Oh, it's overriding channel 6. What do I have? So 221. So let's do that. Astera Titan tube. 201 at 221. Okay. So now I have that in here. Here's my Titan tube. And now if I press, let's hold this drop down. Now let's go to favorites, and I click this. There you go. You can see that those values that I had saved from a sky panel apply to the Astera tube, and that's because it's a universal preset. So that is a quick way to be able to kind of fake a color across multiple lights. Now obviously that is going to look different in a sky panel than it does in an Astera tube. So you're going to have to adjust that and save that as a separate color palette when you get those matched up. But this is a quick way to like show your gaff or something. Okay, so let me get back to some questions. Yes, Ben, I would love to do that. Right now, I'm the only one who's managing this database, and I've thought about how to like have people do this. And let me just show you what GDTF is. And it's something that I thought about like integrating with, but I just think the way they're going about it is too messy. And it really should be on the fixture manufacturers to build profiles for their own lights and implement them into this database. But there's no like, you know, police force or something that's doing this. And until it's completely accepted, fixture manufacturers aren't going to take the time to do this. So yeah, I mean, we kind of need like a team. You know, right now it's not something that I can necessarily afford to put together. But yeah, we do need a team to like go through these profiles and comb them. And maybe in this stream, if you guys want, I can show you how I create fixture profiles. I try to make it as super simple and easy as possible. And there's a lot of things that are automatically filled out now that other consoles don't do. So it should be pretty simple, but okay. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, the database thing is going to be an issue at some point, because there's just so many lights out there, especially when we start getting heavy into moving lights. And the reason why I haven't added too many moving lights to Blackout is because there's a couple things that I want to change. Like I want a revert parameter so that if you're familiar with like a Mac Viper, right? In one of the last channels, it's their fixture controls, which means that you can reset the pan of the fixture or do a global reset, or you can lamp on the fixture or lamp off the fixture. That channel specifically, what they want you to do is set it to a value and then revert it back. Because if you always have it set to lamp on, it shouldn't, but some fixtures will continually lamp on your fixture. And this is because everyone does things differently. Most good manufacturers don't have that issue, but you don't want that control parameter stuck at lamp on. And I just feel like new users who aren't aware of that will get that stuck in their fixture and then be like, why is all my Mac Vipers like lamping on every 5 seconds? Well, it's because it's constantly sending that value on that channel. So when I implement a revert parameter into Blackout, you'll be able to set that to lamp on. It will wait 10 seconds and then go back to the default value of that parameter. And that's also going to allow us to move things like Airy Max movers or LRX lights, where you want a control surface where you just temporarily tap right or left and you can move the yoke of the fixture and it will revert back to center every single time, because that is a rate adjustment, right? So that's why I haven't added too many moving light profiles, but they are coming. They're going to come in a big way. So for everyone asking about multi-universe, it's coming. It's being kind of priced out right now. One universe right now, you can go on the website and you can see it's $500 to buy the app. I think that's, you know, you can do with that what you will. I think if you're buying, you know, smart lights for $8,500 a pop, I think a $500 control device is kind of a no-brainer, especially because you can get up and running in Blackout in like 10 minutes. And like, I've spent thousands of dollars learning the GrandMA and ETC EOS, and you know, that takes time and money. Yeah, Timo, time function with favorites. Absolutely. Right. Yeah, Casper. If you are interested in helping me with profile management and database stuff, uh, let's put it in the Facebook so I remind myself to kind of like get that project going, because I'm sure everyone wants to see more fixtures in the database. And if there's something that you're like missing, you can always reach out and I will create it. Sometimes I get caught up in different things, but I try to. Oh, right, Ben. I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right. I mean, there's definitely manufacturers that I'm in touch with who like very much understand their profiles, and there's manufacturers that I do that have like no idea what DMX really even is, but they know they have to include it into their light, and that's why it's such a mess right now. Hey, Andrew. So, um, the reason why I don't have the Google Drive thing is because it's all cloud database, right? So if you go into patch and you go to add fixtures and you just go sync database, this is going to sync instantly to my cloud, and I will be able to see any fixture that you've created into my cloud database, and then I can go ahead and adjust it, and then I can just click approve, and it will send it back out to everyone. And if you just click sync database after I do that again, it will resync your database with the fixtures that I have created. Now there's one thing that is coming that is going to change this, and the reason why is because if I take like a sky panel, and I adjust a parameter and then I send it back out because I realize I made a mistake, when you resync your database, it's going to change it in here, but it may cause issues with your current show file, because it's arguing with itself over what to use. Now, the way we're going to fix that is very much like what GrandMA does, where when you patch in something, these fixture types will be copied to a folder in add fixtures. Right up at the top, it'll say favorites. Instead of where ADJ is, it'll say favorites, or not favorites, show fixtures. So when you click that, it will show you a patch list of all of your fixtures there, where you'll be able to repatch your fixtures, but also are going to lock in those parameters. So if you did resync your database and it changes something, those that are in your show file won't get updated, and that way it won't break your show file. But it's something to be aware of, because if you wanted to fix that, you're going to have to repatch that light into your show. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, Ben, lock button on the main screen. That is something that's something that's coming. Right now the way I've dealt with it is, you just have to press at in order to do everything. That's why I have that setting for the scroll wheel and stuff set back there. But yeah, a lock button would be good. We don't have the ability right now where you can just shut off your iPad and it to constantly output effects. That's something that is actually pretty difficult to implement, coming to find out. So, Stig, when you long press a channel, you get the drop down. Yeah, right. My worry about that is it's so laggy, because every single time that you're doing that, it is picking up a new drop down. So we're going to implement a table view in the near future, where it's just going to be all of those drop downs in one page, and you'll be able to access this from the channel view, and it'll be probably like a little mode in the top left up here that says like, pillboxes or table view. And when you select that, you'll be able to see all those, and that will be probably where most people hang out, just because multi-parameter fixtures are so common in sets today. Sometimes you just have those. You'll want to see all those parameters all the time, and then you'll be able to directly click on a parameter and adjust the value, either via the scroll wheel or in your console, just by by typing in a number. Right, Alan, not yet, but I should, right? I should implement just like a little favorites folder in this fixtures where you can click a little star and it would be added. So if you wanted to like aperture and you click like a little star in the top left corner or something, right, on the left side. There used to be an oops button, but it was too unreliable, so we had to redo it. But yeah, it's on the back burner. Okay. Any more questions about kind of what you can do with Blackout or anything like that? Otherwise, if you want, I can show you how you can kind of integrate this with other software as like a DMX controller or remote. Marcus, explain what you mean a little bit more with that. Oh, yeah, Drew. That is my biggest fight on every single, you know, manufacturer has a different way that they want to deal with CCT. And honestly, you know, I'm a fan of just linear, which is why I say if everyone does, like, build their fixtures to work like mode 6 in the sky panel, anyone who's not doing that is doing it wrong, because in a console, you know, if I have CCT and it's from 0 to 255, or it's from, if it's 16-bit, 0 to 65,535, it is so easy to pinpoint any value in any CCT along that if you just map 0 to 65,000 to 2,800 to 10,000 Kelvin, right? The way that Lightgear does that, their new OS is more linear. But KinoFlow has that square curve, and the old Lightgear stuff, and especially their like studio stuff, can also have like a curve to their dimmer stuff. And that's a problem. So that's something that you have to set on the fixture to be a linear dim curve. But yeah, in terms of CCT, that there's nothing that you can like really do about that. Unless they change it. So I've kind of reached out to every manufacturer that I know that will take my advice and tried to change that and incorporate that. And that's something that we could all, like, if you come across that on set and you tell people and manufacturers they're doing it wrong, then they will change it. I got KinoFlow to change their profiles. Why can't I save the setup just to the desktop of the iPad? What do you mean by that, Alan? Save what setup? Oh, you mean like save the patch? That's so if you weren't here for the beginning of the stream, yeah, that's coming, where you're going to be able to like export just the patch to a file, and then when you want to start a new project, you'll be able to import just that patch so that you always have that. But again, I need to implement this like show fixtures thing first and add fixtures in order to deal with that appropriately. Yeah, Marcus. What you're talking about is Flash. I mean, it's not as fast as you want, but you can definitely do that. So if I go 155, let's put this one at like 28, right? So if I select these three and then I do Flash, enter, it's going to go the reverse of what it is. So if it's over 50%, it's going to go to 0. If it's under 50%, it's going to go to 100. So this is a quick way to flash your lights, but yeah, you want to like on off of them. Coming, not available at the moment. Another thing, well, I mean, here, if you had this saved into a look, here's the way around it. So save this as a look 14. And then if I wanted to, I could take these 3 channels, and I mean, I could go out, and then I could do at release, enter. Oh, yeah, that's right. Release doesn't work in this version for some reason. Release would revert it back to the look. So you could just press look 14 again and it would come back on. But yes, release would be your friend to do that. Yeah, Marcus, without flash. So you want a quick thing. Yeah, what I'm thinking of is like in the bottom right underneath the scroll wheel, there would be an out. And then in the top right of the scroll wheel, there would be a full. So either one of those would be temporary full or temporary out buttons on whatever you have selected. So that would do it. It's just going to be, it's something in the works. Did I miss any questions? Do you guys want to see, do you want to see how this kind of can integrate with like Madrix or something? I've gotten into Madrix lately because there's like some really cool things they're doing. Oh, channel check. Yeah, that's yeah, you could do that actually. That's a great method. So if I did 3, 4, 5, and then if you do flash, that turns into channel check, and you could go at out, right? And if I press enter, it goes out. And if I press clear, they come back on. So you're right. That's exactly how you could do that, Shane. Another thing that's coming, obviously, with moving lights. Yeah, okay. Is movement effects. So you can adjust. So I have built in these encoders. That's one thing I didn't show you, but let's go ahead and go back over to capture. Okay, so if we go into library and then we look up like a Viper, right? Martin Viper performance, and I go ahead and drag this into my scene. Let's do something right here. Okay, and then let me just turn this stuff off. And I'll turn number 3 at like 50 just so we can kind of see what we're doing here. Okay. So here's my Viper, and then this actually came in at a really weird angle. Oh, whatever. I'll just adjust it later. I mean, I could... Oh, man. I'm so used to... like Vectorworks with like transform options, and it's just it's funny because I'm like lost now without it. Oh wait, it is like that. Oh weird. Oh, because I'm looking upside down at it. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, so this is right. Anyways, beyond that, okay, so we go to properties here, and I change this to extended mode because this gives you the 16-bit dimmer channel, which you're going to want. Let's start this at 301, channel 301. Okay, so that should be fine. If I'm going to take channel 3 out, and then I'm going to go ahead and patch in a Viper. So scroll down here, go to Martin Mac Viper Performance Extended, patch 301 at or oopsies, 301 at, what did I say, 301? Okay, so here's my Mac Viper. You can see it's set. If I go full, it's on, and I'm going to turn channel 3 just slightly on at like 10% just so we can see something. It didn't work. 30%. There we go. Okay, so now we can kind of see our Mac Viper, right? And if I go ahead and transition back to us, here we are. I can take 301, and you can see immediately in the bottom left corner. Oh, you can't see that. Hold on. One second while I fix this. Ah, okay. So, well, that's kind of... Okay, I'm gonna have to show you on this, actually. So... One second. Hold on. My screen capture software is not showing the bottom part of the iPad, so you can't actually see this. So what I'm going to do is show it to you on my C300. Okay. So here I have... Okay. So here I have a moving light. If I select 3, then I get these pan and tilt encoders here. So if I just press the plus icon, then I have those controls. And these are like little encoders. So if I move this, oh, of course you cannot see this at the same time. Oh, okay, you can kind of see it here. Okay, so if I go ahead and I move this tilt control, you can see it's actually quite responsive. And this is in coarse value right here. So if I change, if I tap in the middle there, you can see it goes to fine, or if I tap again, it goes to super fine, and then it's just smaller increments. So you can really dial in exactly where you want your light to be. And then of course I can also pan it like this. So if you have a moving light on like a lift or something, this could be an easy way to control something if it doesn't need to like move right now. Of course you can set your light to move in an effect, it's just gonna always be linear. So if you're okay with that, then that's fine, but obviously if you want sine waves, that is something you're gonna have to wait for. But then I can always rehome it. If I just press home here and then home here, now my light goes back to center, and then I can always, you know, adjust it from there again. So again, you can use this, take it away, and then go ahead and record this as a favorite, and then do focus. And now that's my focus preset. And if I had all my focus presets as red or something, that would be another key thing to be able to do. So if I did global, no, you don't want global, you want fixture specific, right? And if I say this one is going to be 301, okay, save that. Now I'm going to take this, go back to home, and then if I press 301 favorite here, boom, it's in that saved position. Another way, something that I didn't show you as well, is if you open up favorites, if you have a ton of favorites here, you can filter these through this top menu here. So if I click focus, it's just going to show me all of my focus palettes, essentially my focus favorites. If I click all, it's going to show everything. So that is something there. I can also filter it from the left side here. So if I just wanted to see focus here, I could do that as a quick and easy way. Okie dokie. Like you've done with the sky panel fan, could you add the runtime from an Astera? Oh, yeah. So that is something you can't do. Astera hasn't opened up like RDM to be able to control their fixtures, and they haven't opened up that control parameter in a DMX channel to do that. So that is something on Astera. Unfortunately, you can't do that yet. Yeah, exactly, Ben. Okay, so that was that. Okay, so let's open up Madrix. Let's see some fun stuff with Madrix. Let's see this. So I open up Madrix. So this would work in a GrandMA. This would work in Madrix. But if you think of Blackout like a very mobile lighting controller, you can go ahead and merge SACN or ArtNet into any program that will take it. So ETC does not allow you to take an incoming merge and you know, play with it, but that's where GrandMA like really shines, and so does Madrix. So if I go ahead and open up a thing right here, okay, so I have Madrix, and you can see right now what I have set in Device Manager. If I go to DMX input into this first universe in Madrix, which doesn't mean anything, but it's actually coming in at universe 101, okay? When I see input from universe 101 in Madrix, that is what this is saying. It is going to act as a remote control. Okay, and I have this remote control set up as basically like a fixture. So if I click edit, this is what I have in Madrix. Oops. Hold on. There we go. So you can see channel 1 right here is the master. Channel 2 is freeze. Channel 3 is red, green, blue, so on. Okay, so I have created this profile in Blackout. And what this will enable me to do is control Madrix from Blackout. So if I go ahead and open up this, I'm going to go back to my Madrix integration, and I'm going to go link status. Oh yeah, no, I already have it. So I'm in SACN, and you can see right here I have this Madrix remote patched into universe 101 at channel 1. What does this mean? Well, if we, let me see if I can show you both real quick. Give me 1 second. You know, you have like a couple of these presets in OBS set, and you're like, oh yeah, I can flip between all these scenes, and then every time I want to show you something, it's like a different configuration. That's my biggest issue right here. Okay, let's see if I can do this like this, and then I'll show you this right here. Okay, so here we go. If I select this fixture and I go to fixture controls, if you look here in Madrix, this is the master fader, essentially. So I have this set to dimmer in my fixture. So if I go ahead and drag this up, oh, do I not have this on? Did I just turn it off? Hold on. Give me a second. Yeah, remote in. Okay. One, let me see if I just reset real quick. What happens? So this is where I turn to SACN Viewer. So if I go here, and now I search Universe 101, I am not getting anything, because I would see right here if there was a little drop down icon. So this is telling me that SACN is not going out on that thing. So let me try to repatch. Right here. One second, guys. Here, I'll try to show you what I'm doing so you can kind of see and follow along with me. Okay, so this is how I troubleshoot stuff. You can see right away. Okay. It may be a thing with multi-universe because I did change something today earlier. So if I go ahead and I'm going to just patch this, repatch to another address, 1 at 1, and see if I get anything in SACN. So if I do 1, open this up, I am getting stuff here. So if I did 1 at full, yeah, I see that responding here. So something it does not like about Universe 101. And Madrix is sending these two out. So let's try that again. So let me see if I repatch to Universe 99 real quick. Can I search for... Oh yeah, it gets it at 99. Okay. I'll have to check that out. I just tried 101 this morning, but for some reason, it's not there. So, Universe 101, or 99, it sees. Oh, but is it? Oh, I see what's happening. I think Madrix is messing with it when it goes out. Well, first of all, I need to set this now to channel 99. It's kind of a good idea to like put your remotes for other external software in Universe like 99, or if you want to do like Universe 101 for Madrix, Universe 102 for Pangolin, or something like that. That's kind of like a good methodology there that I've seen people do. So if I take this now and do this Universe 99, click OK. Okay, so it's seeing it here, but for some reason it does not like me outputting. So let me just try to, maybe it didn't like the settings that I set before. So if I go here, go to patch, add fixtures, and then go to Madrix. Eventually I'll have a multi-cell one, but there was a slight issue with it. So I made everything into one fixture right now, but the multi-cell would allow me to change this is one cell and this is another cell, because these are essentially the same thing, right? You select a bin. Once you select a bin, then you can select a storage spot right here, like this. And over here you select a bin, and then you can select a storage spot like this, and then you output that to the console here. So the interesting thing is this should not be working if I have DMX on. So something is up with Madrix right now. If I turn this on, click OK. Okay, so in 1, I have universe 1 here. It's seeing that. If I turn this at full, okay, I'm getting that. So I'm getting output from Blackout. I thought I could, why is this not 99/1? Okay, so now if I go over here, I see 99, but, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so that was weird. See, that's what happens sometimes. A restart didn't do it for whatever reason. So I just created a new project, and then I repatched the channel. That's all I did, and it worked again. So these are super helpful tools to be able to see where things are going wrong. Okay, so now that I have this up, you can see in Madrix right here, again, this is what I'm adjusting. If I took this at 50%, boom, you can see this value went to here. So this is an awesome way to be able to control Madrix remotely. It's like a fixture that you're using. If I go to fixture controls, and now I just adjust this, you can see in real time me adjusting the dimmer of this. Now, the reason why is because I have nothing selected here in Madrix. So if I go and scroll down here, what I have is, you know, if I go here, storage unit, oopsies, I want this one to be 1, but storage place, maybe I want this to be like, you know, here. There you go. Now you're seeing output in Madrix. And we can connect this to, you know, capture. I actually believe I have this in capture. So if we go to capture, file, open recent, and then I go to capture BI. Yeah, that's it. Oh, no. Oh yeah, let's just save this real quick. Let's save this as live stream. Okay, cool. So I'm getting a party going on over here. Wow. Okay, here we go. So here are my lights. But you know why I don't have this working is because I need to patch them in here, because I just have Madrix controlling the RGB of these fixtures. So if I go ahead and real quick, let's just go to patch editor, and I'm gonna go, I think I have this saved. Let's see if I did this correctly. BI test. Oh, this is using my mod. No, okay, so 1 second. Delete these. And then add. I'm showing you these with BIs because they're a multi-cell fixture, and so it's kind of cooler to see because Madrix does multi-cell stuff really well. So if I look up BI, oh my goodness. You know, it's like you have to type in the exact same thing. There we go. Hold on. Okay. BI, and then we do K10, K20, no, extended mode. That's what we did. Okay, and then I have 6 of these. They start at 1. Yeah, it should do that. Okay, so now, if I go here, and then I select capture, you can see them outputting. Whoop. Here. So I have this light on right here just to kind of give you like a little glow, but what I should do is take it down a little bit. So there you go. So this is from Madrix, and again, if you watch me in Blackout right here in this bottom right screen, and I go ahead and take the dimmer out, they go out. And if I turn them on and now I can adjust them. Oh, here's red pixelation now, green or blue or whatever. I'm controlling Madrix through this. So it's an easy way to extend your parameter count, you know, by quite a lot, because Madrix licenses are a lot cheaper than any other console. You can get like 32 universes or something for a couple $1,000, versus like if you were to buy that on a GrandMA, it'd be tens of thousands of dollars. Same with, you know, ETC. So that is something like that. Okay, so that's integration with Madrix. It's a very similar thing with GrandMA. I'll hop into GrandMA right now. So let's kill Madrix. No, I don't want to say that. And then let me go ahead and open up GrandMA. And if I go to this, okay. Okay, so this is the GrandMA. For those of you who are not familiar, it can be kind of overwhelming, but the thing that we're going to do is the same thing that we did in Madrix. We're going to set up a input universe, and the way you do that in MA is you go to network protocols, and then you can set up ArtNet or SACN. ArtNet, if you're doing it in GrandMA, only works on 2 dot or 10 dot IP addresses. So right now I'm on my home network, so it's not going to be that. So you go to SACN and you can do an input. So right now this is output. So if I right click, yes, requested, input multicast. We're sending multicast. Local start, if I put this at universe 101, okay, it means that in MA, whatever I send that I specify is going to go into universe 101, okay? And now this SACN universe we have already set up to universe 99, right? So if I click 99, enter. I'm actually going to take this off so that we don't have interference or anything. Now, if I see in here, this is the DMX sheet, and I scroll all the way down. Oh, you saw it right there. Here is universe 101. So I'm sending DMX out of universe 99. It's being input into GrandMA. Hold on. I'm sending universe 99 from the iPad through my network to GrandMA, which is taking universe 99, rerouting it to universe 101. That's what you're seeing right here. Oh, I totally did not. I was looking at the camera and I didn't even have the universe 99 from the iPad through GrandMA to universe 101, which is being sent inside the console. And you can see that here. So if I take channel 1 and I take this out, you saw that live data go away. And if I flash it, flashing. This is live data from Blackout. So if you wanted to have your gaffer have control over certain fixtures, you can actually do that through the GrandMA without interrupting your own network or configuration. You just have to configure it. Yeah, Timo, I know. Campsys, but, you know, it's Campsys, so. Okay. Yes, Timo, there is. It's called, if you're on a PC, it's called ArtNet Nominator. Oopsies. and it looks like this. And if I go ahead and just switch Blackout right now to ArtNet, hold on. I'm gonna go into my other project real quick. Oh, you know why? It's because I have everything connected. So you should only run one of these programs at once, because a listener can only listen on like one thing at a time a lot of times. SACN Viewer is a little bit unique, but because I have it going into GrandMA and then out, it's getting confused. So yes, ArtNet Nominator for PC, or I think it's just called ArtNet Viewer for Mac. What do I have over here? I think it's called ArtNet Viewer for Mac. Hold on. Yeah, it's ArtNet View. So you can get that. Okay. Last thing, if you're still with me. Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is very similar. There's a lot of cool things going on it, and there's a lot of things that they need to develop still. So let's go ahead and open that up. Again, if you think of Blackout like a mobile lighting console, it can be very versatile to troubleshoot things, to test things, to use in conjunction with other things. But it's also great as a standalone console. Okay, so Unreal Engine gets a little bit deep. It's like it's pretty confusing if you haven't dealt with like code before, because it's all based on C++, but they have like a visual way that you can like implement things called blueprints. So for those of you who are just tuning in who have no idea, this is going to be quite overwhelming at first. So let me open up, I'm going to open up this thing and just show you so it looks cool. And I'm going to take capture off. Okay. What else I have running here? Okay. So here we are, Unreal Engine, and I've just downloaded a marketplace asset. So you can do this as well. This is their VP Studio, and if you go ahead and just play it, they give you like this little kind of thing right here where you can kind of switch between cameras like a live, player. So that's kind of a fun little level. So what we can do right here is add DMX to this. So the first thing that you need to do is, at least in this one, is you need to take away this camera switcher, because otherwise you're going to be stuck there. And now here, if I right click, I can move around in here. Okay, so hold on, I know. Open level blueprint. I'm just going to disconnect this stuff right now so that it's not. Okay, if I press play. Okay, so now I can move around and I'm not stuck with that camera switcher thing. So this is what the studio looks like. Again, it's free on that marketplace, so you can go ahead and download that. We're just going to integrate DMX into it. So if we go to edit and we go to plugins, you want to go to built-in and search DMX and turn on all these. If you haven't turned on all of these, then you're going to have to turn them on, and then it'll ask you to restart, and you restart the engine and it will come up here. Once you've done that, you go into your project settings. Scroll all the way down to DMX plugin. And if you right click here, if these are all collapsed, which a lot of times they are, you just click expand all. And then you don't have to set this unless it's causing an issue. So if this is causing an issue, then you can set this IP to be where you're sending it from, which would be the IP of your iPad. Okay, and then you go up to maps and modes, and you can set these starter maps so that they will always open when you open this level. If they're not set, if you don't know about that, and then you change your game instance class, which will be nothing, to this BP DMX game instance. Once you set those plugins, this option will be available. So this is the only way that you're going to be able to get DMX into the system. It auto saves, so you don't have to worry about that. And now you have all this stuff. So I had saved this from earlier, but if we go ahead and start new, I'm just going to say this is a new... Well, hold on. I'm going to delete this because this is going to get confusing. Yeah, I'm going to delete all this. Okay, so... Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so starting fresh here, this is what you would do. You would right click just to keep things organized, and I'm going to call this thing DMX new, just so that we know what's going on. You're going to right click here. You're going to create a new fixture library because this is how everything starts. Okay, so if I call this Jeff DMX library, and you double click this, this is what you can see. And you can see I'm already getting input from the iPad. So if I go ahead and select channel 1 at full, you can see that opened up right here. So if I did 1 through 10 at 55, there. ArtNet, or SACN, right now I'm sending ArtNet on Universe 0. So that is all coming in right now. You need to set up a new controller. Oops. So this is the first one. I could call this whatever, but I'm going to say like iPad or Blackout. Okay. It's broadcasting. That's what we're setting to right now, but you can change this to, unicasting, I think. Or not, yeah, you just changed it right here, the IP address. Universe start. So again, this can get confusing if you're like not aware of like what like merging and stuff is. But Blackout is sending on Universe 0 in ArtNet. So where do we want that to go? In Unreal Engine, they start at Universe 1. Okay, so there's a little offset there. So Universe start, you can't go to 0. You can only go up. Okay, so Universe start is 1. Amount of universes, we could set this however many we want. If we wanted 10, boom. Okay, and then remote universe range start. Again, we're on Universe 0, so you need to have this to 0. And that's why we're seeing that. If we had this to 1, this should all go away. If I press those out... Oh, because I'm seeing it right here. See? If I put this to Universe 1 to match what I have right here, you wouldn't see any of that. Okay? So there's 0. We put this to 0. And there we go. So that's our DMX controller. Now we go to fixture types. So this works on the GDTF system, right? So if you click new fixture type and you want this to be like a sky panel, what you do is you go to you go to Google, you search GDTF, General Device Type Share. You log in here, and this is like a partnership between Vectorworks MA and somebody else. And you can search for your fixture. So if I search in like sky panel, right? Here's what I get. So there's a million of them, unfortunately. And so if I select one like this S60 first revision, it will show you some of these, but like, who are these people? Oliver? Like, I don't know. So it's like, what do you trust? So I kind of go here to Airy, and then I look at a couple of these. S60. This one, by Airy GDTF. That's a good sign. So if we download this, click download, it comes up here, okay? Show in folder, boom. Here's this. And now I need to import this into my project folder. So if I go back into Unreal, and I'm just gonna drag this tab and put it over here, okay? Go back into my studio. I'm gonna right click this and say, show in Explorer, so I can get to the game directory. And it pops up over here in this left side, the game directory window, DMX2, see that? So I just drag this Airy into here, and now I have this in my project folder. So if I go back, it says, "Would you like to import this?" I click yes, import, click import all. Okay. Now I go into DMX2, and I have my fixture type here. So if I go back into the library, I have this sky panel, and I want to go to this new mode. And here it is, the GDTF import. So we select this, and it's going to bring up all of the modes that came with that file. So you can see it actually has all of the modes. Whether or not they actually work like this, totally different story. But they're in here. Again, data typers, right? But this is from Airy, so these modes should actually be pretty good. And you can see that they have doubles of everything. So it's like one is CCTR GBW, and one is with the extended color control, which I don't know why you'd want on a console unless your console couldn't do it. So if we go to like 10, here we go. Here's our mode 6. So we'll remember that, right? So we have our sky panel here, and let's add a new fixture type, and we'll just call this a dimmer. And DMX category static mode. So we're going to add a mode, and this mode is going to be called generic, okay? And then function, we have to create a channel for it. So we create this, we go here, channel assignment 1, function is going to be called a dimmer. We can do the same thing right here. Okay, and the default value is 0. Okay, so now we have two types of fixtures here, dimmer and a sky panel. So yeah, this is a process, obviously, to get this up and running in Unreal. This is not like a plug-and-play solution. You're going to have to search around for some GDTF files, and if they don't have it, you're going to have to create it. And you can see how I did that with one dimmer channel. If you did that with a moving light, and you have 60 parameters, right. And it's like the hard way. It's not like Blackout where it's, you know, auto-creating stuff as you go along. So beware of that before you start show. Okay, so back in here, we have our two devices, right? If we go to fixture patch, now we want to patch them. So we go add fixture, and we say dimmer. Okay, and if we label this 1, then when we copy it, it'll auto-increment, which is nice. So this is going to start at 1, 1, okay? If I just copy and then paste, they're going to auto-increment. So I can do 10 of these, right? And then if I do this, and I go to sky panel, and I'm going to label this sky panel 101, and let's start these at 101. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if I click paste, yeah, see, it doesn't like it. It's not smart enough right now. And if I click start, it at least does that fine. But it's confusing itself. Okay, so here's 5, here's 6. So if you press F2, you can rename these, I think. Yeah. Oops. I got confused. Okay. Oh, hold on. Oh my gosh. What am I at, 4? Okay, so that's how you get those in. Now, obviously, what we didn't do is select the mode. So select the mode here. I should have copied this before I did that. Unfortunately, I did not. cool. And then if you wanted to test these from within Unreal, you can actually do that. You could set this to universe number, what address, and then add fader, and then this would be your fader that you could do right there. But as you can see, it's like confusing itself because it's not able to do a merge completely well. So I would not recommend doing that. Okay, so save that, and that is your DMX library. So you've just created your own cloud database system, or what we have in Blackout, but without the cloud. What use case for Unreal Engine to film? So if you haven't heard about the big craze that is going on right now, basically people are building game engine scenes, right? So like imagine you built like a little live arena, and you had moving fixtures and hanging in a truss, and you had like a stage set up. What people are doing is they are filming like a DJ, or it could even be a speaker against a green background. They are real-time keying that person out of the green and putting them into the scene. Yeah, exactly. If you know Mac Workman, he's like leading the charge on all of this stuff. So it's like super cool to see. So basically they're putting them into this live event that is all happening virtually. So this would allow you to control those fixtures from a lighting console that you have in Unreal. So this is just like kind of getting you started to do that, and then the rest is like learning Unreal, which is easy in some regards, very hard in other regards. And there's a lot coming, and there's a lot that they are working on, but this is their very first iteration of DMX, which is why like it's such a cumbersome process. So they've already incorporated some like neat tools, which I'll show you like a couple just so you can see what's happening. But yeah, that's kind of like the big craze with Unreal. So I just showed you how you can get DMX into the system from Blackout, and from there it's kind of like anybody's game. Now the biggest problem with this is if you wanted to use this for like real good looking sets, like if you wanted to do this for those curved LED walls and stuff, the lighting in Unreal has 3 different types. Well, 4 technically, I guess, really. You have static, stationary, movable, and then I guess you have like ray tracing. So static lights, they are going to what is called baked lighting. You set the light, you render the scene, and that is the final lighting that you get. You cannot change that light. If you change the intensity value of it, you have to re-render the scene. So if you're controlling from DMX, you can't do that. And then there's stationary lights, and stationary lights are a mix between that and movable. So let me get into movable first. Movable is exactly what you think. You can adjust it, and in real time you see the light fading and everything like that. What is the difference? In static, you get the best lighting possible because it calculates the bounce light from your area into your scene. So if you have, think about it, an interior apartment, and you have one light on, a light bulb, and it turns on, you should get a nice pool of light below it, but then you should also get the bounce from whatever it's bouncing off of, which brings up the ambience of the room. So if you have all your lights in Unreal as static, then it will do that. If you have them in movable, it won't calculate the bounce light. It's just too much on the engine unless you have ray tracing enabled. But you can't do 100 lights in ray tracing. No GPU, CPU can handle that right now. So that's the big push for these new GPU cards and everything like that. So until we start seeing that like really effectively in action, personally, the only way you're really going to use DMX into Unreal is for like kind of gamey looking live shows and control of like fake lights. And so I'll show you what a mover looks like in here, and you'll be like, oh, maybe that's like not as cool as I was thinking. It doesn't look as good as Capture. Guys, Capture spent a lot of time getting their fixtures to work and act just like they would in the real world. And even they don't have everything implemented. Like, for example, if you have like a BI, if you guys know what a BI is, it's like a 37 cell fixture that can do different shapes and modes and zigzags and stuff like this that a lot of people use because it looks like eye candy on a stage. And I kind of showed you some of that in Madrix, where you can like run very natural effects across those different types of lights. So yes, so this is exactly, yeah, this is all reliant on how the fixtures are profiled in the software, which includes the 3D model. So Capture spent a lot of time making sure that those parameters work. But like what I was saying is, some of these lights, like a BI, you can put in a standard mode, which doesn't have any multi-cell control from the console, and you would just be able to put a macro on it. It's a control parameter in a BI, where you can go through a list of different predefined effects that are built into the fixture. So you can have one that does like a cross, or you can have one that does like a circle, or like a expanding kind of ring type effect on the light, and that would just be like DMX channel number 16 at like 30% would give you that effect. But Capture can't do that in their software. They can't show you what that pre-built mode is like. So it's only good for what you can control from a console. So the same thing is going with Unreal, whereas they have like one fixture there. They don't even have multi-cell fixtures in yet. Like, this is just so new. That's something that's being built, and you know, obviously they plan to do a lot, and I'm sure they're hiring hundreds of developers right now to do that. But yes, like, this is very much new technology that is like not ready for primetime film use the way that we want to use it. But it's getting there, and it doesn't mean it won't get there very quickly. So okay, back to Unreal. We're here, we have this DMX library, we've imported our fixtures, we have our stuff. Now we need to sync them up with actual fixtures. So if you don't have this showing right here, if you click your view options and then you go to show plugin content, show engine content, then you'll see this stuff. And you can go down here to DMX fixtures, and you'll see these moving heads, moving mirror, right. But we have a static fixture, so we're going to click static fixture, we're just going to drag this into the level. And we have this right here. So if you hold Alt and you move this over, you can create instances of this. Okay, so if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oops, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now you want to be able to address these. So the way you would typically do this is you would select one and you would go to details panel. A lot of people have this world outliner. They have it like on the top right here, and then your details here. I find it easier to just kind of like move this here so you can see all the stuff, but the full details, right? So okay, so you click this BP static fixture, and if you scroll to the top in the details, you will see the components list of this thing. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you should see this DMX inherited. If you click this, now you'll be able to select your library, and then you'll be able to select your fixture patch. Boom. Yes, it's cumbersome. Yes, you have to do this for every single fixture. However, there's like things that people have created which allow this to go faster. So if you you know, search for geodesic games, they have they're kind of the ones I think making this stuff, I believe, the integrations with DMX. So you can copy some of their content into your folder. So if I search for their folder, give me 1 second. So they have a couple different things. So all you would do is you would find, you know, their folder, which is called like DMX tools or something. You can find that off their GitHub. But I'm going to go ahead and copy, I think, these in here. I'm just going to copy this into my own folder right here. Okay, so now it would show up in here if I go here to my content folder and I get this stuff. So they have this little thing called DMX Patcher, and if you click this DMX Setter and you right click it and then you go run editor utility widget, you can drag this panel to this side right here. Okay, and this is like a little blueprint class widget that they made. It's a HUD. And so, oopsies, you are not seeing my screen. Here you go. So for those of you who are not aware, I was here. I copied this stuff in from Finder. I click this DMX Patcher. I right click this, click run editor utility widget. And now I have this little DMX Setter thing, which I can drag anywhere. Okay, so if I drag it over here, what this is going to enable me to do is select my library, select my first fixture that I want. So if I wanted these all as dimmers, select this. Okay, and then I have all of these fixtures that I imported right here. What I should do is I should create a new folder, and I should call this one DMX so that I'm not confusing myself, and then drag all of these guys into DMX. So now I have all of these selected, and then this little widget, if I click address and rename, and I click boom, it renames these to the same address or to the fixture as what I patched in here. So that's like a fun little utility they gave you. And what did it do? If I go to like 8 and I scroll to DMX inherited, it set this for me. So this is like its own blueprint class. If you double click this, they did some like fun stuff here. If you go to the graph, you can see they've done like a lot with the patch logic. Oh gosh, see, I'm like dragging like middle mouse button to move this, and it's like right in this program, but it's like middle in Capture, and it's like left in Vectorworks. They need to figure out something. Okay, so there you go. So that's like the logic behind that. So that's how you can like easily patch all these fixtures. And then if I click play, right, so they're all there. And now if I press at full, boom, they turn on. And if I go at out time, they're going to fade out. Oh, I didn't do it. 1 through 10 at out time, enter. And you can see them fade out. Boom. Live control from Blackout to Unreal Engine. There you go. Any questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, Casper, I know. Faders. Everyone wants faders. So, there you go. Any more questions? Otherwise, that may wrap up the stream. So we showed you the basics of Blackout. We showed you some advanced things you could do, some new features and how they work, universal presets. Showed you how to integrate it with other software, Madrix, how to get imports going in there, how to get imports going into GrandMA and being able to reroute that to other universes for a variety of different control from your gaffer. And Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine may have been a little bit laggy, sorry about that, but yeah, that's kind of like the basics of how you get that going. Yeah, the shirts, the shirts, the hats, all that stuff, the swag. I was gonna have that ready for all these trade shows coming up, but then they all got canceled. So that's unfortunate. Yeah. once we get a couple more users, Timo, once the industry kind of starts back up again over here in the U.S. and we get some more users, then I'll have like some kind of swag going around or merchandise that I'll be creating. So thank you guys for tuning in for the live stream. I hope you learned something, enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.